What's up, guys, and welcome back to the NoShang Invitational. This is game 2 in the best of 5 we got going on between Fantastic 5 and Power Rangers. And right now we have Fantastic 5 with a 1-game lead on Mikelorus. Going to be joined by Mrpdota for this second game, and it seems like this opening is looking, well, rather familiar.
Yeah, first pick Shadow Demon once again. This time going to be for the opposite squad though. Fantastic Five again going to be on dire side, but now going to have second pick. We'll see what they're.
Faceless Void, Keeper of the Light.
Hello? Think our Skype might have botched something. Alright, I will try to get MRP back, guys. But I'm still here, don't worry. That's the only important part, right? We don't need him anyway. I'm sure he was saying something brilliant, but until then, Fantastic Five are going to be picking up Faceless Void as their opener, along with Coddle, which is certainly a very interesting hero to pick up with the Void. Now, you always may have the dream scenario of Chronosphere into an Illuminate, which is fairly devastating as far as non-ultimate combos are concerned. Is this necessarily stronger than having a Faceless Void the Phoenix? I don't personally think so. I think that Keeper of the Light is a very playable hero, but again, is kind of reliant on being in the right set of matchups in order to be truly effective. You need to be in matchups where you're able to play extremely passively, since Keeper of the Light would rather be just like stacking up in the jungle and whatnot in order to find success. So you need that, and right now it's kind of undetermined as to whether or not that's actually going to be the case. You also would like to have value off of Mana Leak up against the Batrider. It's pretty darn good, but you really want to be like up against Faceless Void or up against a Slark. Well, maybe not a Slark necessarily, but up against those type of heroes to be valuable, and you typically need a little bit of space and time to really get going as Keeper of the Light. So it seems like, guys, MRP may have lost his internet connection. So yeah, I'm gonna be here solo. Again, that should be fine. I'll try to get him in. I'm sure he'll give me a call when he's available to do so. But outside of this opening Fantastic Five, now I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Mirana. Still Phoenix in the possibility, I suppose, but is probably looking a little bit less likely here. The Mrpdota pickup is going to be an effective ban up against the Power Ranger side. Opening up with the Shadow Demon, you would like to have a combo, some sort of disruption combo with that, if at all possible. Last game, we didn't really see one, but here it is for PR. It's going to be a Kunkka. So Kunkka is going to be not only the Shadow Demon combo, but also has some pretty sick synergies with what Power Rangers have so far. First of all, just being able to torrent up and actually do some reasonable amount of damage onto a lasso target, that's pretty sweet. Having the boat and the X marks and the torrent up against Faceless Void is even sweeter. This guy, Faceless Void, like when you drop your Chronosphere, you want to be able to get kills instantaneously, and when you're torrented, when you're hit with the boat, when the targets are hit with that rum, then those kills are just an impossibility. So Kunkka, yeah, it's definitely an interesting pick here for the Power Rangers side, and it is probably going to get them some serious value in the early game and even scaling up towards late. We've seen a couple of e-home teams. I think both the e-home teams run Kunkka in a supporty fashion. Not sure if we're going to see that again in the future. But it would be just like a support Kunkka and to kind of transition to a more of a DPS Kunkka. But again, options are there for Power Rangers to now grab the Morphling. On the Fantastic Five end, in the meantime, Mirana the pick, followed up by a Rubik, which is certainly an interesting one. So their support duo of Rubik Coddle seems like it's going to take the field, and this is a combo that is going to be situationally able to land those Illuminates, maybe land those arrows as well, although that is perhaps a little bit too bold to assume. This Rubik doesn't seem like he has a really great position up against what Power Rangers have. A point-click disable is never going to be bad, so Telekinesis is pretty good here. Power Rangers, I suppose, do have quite a bit of magic damage. Null Field is going to be pretty nice as well. But yeah, aside from that, just seems like picking up a setup hero for Mirana for Keeper of the Light could have been achieved by getting any other hero. And Rubik at this point doesn't really have any particularly great spells to steal. If you could steal Boat, you're happy. Other than that, Firefly for Vision is, I suppose, kind of nice. Everything else is rather mediocre. So I'm not sure about this Fantastic Five opening. Unless there's some hidden synergy I'm not really too sure about. What they do have is, a really slow kind of defensive opening for Fantastic Five, especially if it's going to be Mirana mid, Faceless Void in the safe lane, which of course may not be the case, might go towards off lane, but it does look like for right now, Fantastic Five should be able to get a decent amount of farm on the Keeper of the Light. They might be looking to play the map control game, in which case getting a, I was going to say Tinker-esque hero is going to be what they really want, but unfortunately that's banned, so Doesn't seem like that's really going to be a possibility. They would like mobility, right? They just want to be able to play around with the Keeper of the Light. They want to constantly look for pickoffs into kind of small aggressive plays. No huge timings like in last game for Fantastic Five, it seems. At least not right now. Grabbing someone like a Slark would be maybe not the best of the Faceless Void, but should still be able to get the job done pressure-wise. There's got to be... I mean, they could always grab like a Gyrocopter or something like that for Fantastic Five if they want to dump more damage into the Chronosphere. In fact, that definitely won't be the worst, although it does seem like playing slower is going to be what Fantastic Five more so want to do than not. Power Rangers going to take out the Invoker. Kind of a catch-all hero. I mean, yeah, Invoker would be okay with what Fantastic Five here, what they have here. Going towards the mid lane. Not really sure if the odds of that were incredibly likely. But yeah, who knows if Fantastic Five are going to do it this draft. They have stun duration. They have slight pick-off power. They will have pretty large shortages of damage, especially when you're going up against Kunkka's Rum. You need a lot of damage in order to burn through that and actually get the kills afterwards. So yeah, Fantastic Five will need just a very heavy damage dealer. And I feel like it kind of has to be a little bit of a stranger hero. I don't know if anyone else is getting that impression out there.
Night Stalker.
Okay, Night Stalker for PR. I love me some Night Stalker, and we have a CK from Fantastic Five. That's what I'm talking about. I am a CK fanboy. I am not ashamed to admit it, guys. It's the truth. He is one of the most badass heroes in the game. And this is actually going to be a way of enabling Keeper of the Light aggressively early on, because CK be dumb, man. Like, the dude is stupid. He does not have a lot of intelligence. He does not have a lot of mana. You can cast a Bolt, you can cast a Reality Rift, and then you're done. You don't have anything else. But with Chakra Magic, you will. You'll be able to keep up that aggression. You'll be able to constantly push, 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 and this will get Fantastic Five their aggressive power. Now, the downside of this hero is the fact that they have a Faceless Void as well. And the Faceless Void seems mediocre in this game for F5 simply because there's not many combos that they have for him. There's no Sunray. There's an Illuminate. There's maybe Mirana setup. CK does not play well into Chronospheres, not by a long shot. So it's a little bit awkward there for Fantastic Five. Okay, I'm going to take off the overlay. Oh my god, look, the screen didn't go black. Incredible, Steven. Sorry, guys. Subtle references. Drop the reference. If you guys got that reference, hats off to you. God damn it. Can't stop referencing things that are extremely niche and people don't recognize. But either way, the Night Stalker on the Power Ranger side is going to be a hero that is going to really just have a field day up against what F5 have. Crippling Fear is broken, and you cast Crippling Fear on Keeper of the Light, a Rubik, a Mirana. They're pretty much 100% boned. Aside from that, you could just void them and run them down, in which case Fantastic Five, yeah, they'll have Leap, they'll have Blinding Light, occasionally just ways to waste the Night Stalker's time, but as far as keeping themselves safe in their entirety, Night Stalker is probably just going to have the run of the map, especially since it looks like it's going to be RMN life on the Night Stalker. He's going to be taking it towards the mid lane. So for F5, like, what's the best possible mid lane they have right now? Probably the Mirana. Maybe you can get away with CK Coddle dual lane mid. I have never seen that before. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the fuck. What? Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. That's Bignum. I'm sorry. It's the wrong person. Bignum is on the Night Stalker. My apologies. That is simply the wrong hero, wrong player. Again, they're not tagged up properly. Please. F5 mostly are. Power Rangers kind of are. Feels bad, man. But, like, yeah, maybe you can get away at some stages of in Dota with a Coddle CK dual lane. It has to be up against a very particular matchup. And I think that matchup is inclusive of the Night Stalker. But it looks like the mid lane matchup instead is going to be versus Mirana. Night Stalker has a disgusting base damage advantage over her. He has a lot of armor. He has a lot of right-click damage, so he'll be able to CS pretty comfortably. However, for the starters, he will have to dodge this arrow. Here it comes. Split the wickets. Field goal. 3-point. They're going to lift up Life. Illuminate through as well. Torrent's going to land as 3 heroes, though. Take a beating for this Mirana. She has no leap out because she leveled up arrow. Fairy Fire. Right-click. Still get the kill for J4. An early first blood there for Power Rangers. Able to split away perfectly from that arrow, get the kill, and Fantastic Five, do they even get the bounty rune? They do, so, you know, I guess not really completely worth, but still they get something anyway. BZZ is going to be handling the Mirana over towards the mid lane, and it will be a tough lane for Mirana. You can poke all day at a Night Stalker, he won't really notice. He should be able to get his bottle, his urn, whatnot, pretty darn quickly. In the meantime, over towards bottom lane, we have a dangerous situation here for Mag. Now, he is a veteran on the Void. Mag is a veteran on actually every single hero, but Torrent's gonna land. He has no time walk! Hook, line, and sinker, guys. I mean, he got poked at by the Shadow Demon, poked at the Morphling. Shadow Poison was stacking up. He's like, oh, I'm fine. What's the worst that could happen here? Torrent's the worst that could happen. The set-up list stun that the Power Ranger side have on this bottom lane is going to land on the Void. Going to get them another kill in this very early stage of the game. Now, of course, that combination will happen a lot easier once you get the disruption. But until then, Torrent, well, that one's going to miss. No big deal. Torrent just freehand on the Kunkka. On a Faceless Void, rather, you can't really expect that to happen. Now, Faceless Void is going to get pressured back by that, but as long as he sees that one coming, as long as he has some sort of presence, some sort of, inkling that there is someone in the area, they should be fine on this Faceless Void to at least get a good amount of experience. Gold, probably not as much so. Mag can maybe steal some of these creep, but even then, Faceless Void isn't really the best at doing so, working almost exclusively with his right clicks as far as, being able to take creeps are concerned. He has no damaging spells. We have a mid lane situation that's going to be pretty cleanly advantageous here for the F5s, for the Power Ranger side. Bottom lane already on a pretty good start there. We can see the Dire CS starting to slip. Now, of course, the top lane is going to be perfectly fine for Illidan. I feel like this guy plays the most CK out of everyone else in professional Dota in the world, probably. So he is going to be just fine there, but by dodging this top lane, Power Rangers are, maybe not able to get quite as much farm on this Bat Rider, but he's still a Bat Rider. He'll still be able to stack up, slowly clear out stacks, and still be able to stay on par with the net worth. This is also, going to eliminate the CK, essentially. Like, this hero wants to play very aggressively. He wants to be in, like, kind of dual lanes most of the time. That's where he's usually able to show off the most of his strengths without showing off his weaknesses at the same time. And because the CK is kind of deactivated, it is also going to kind of deactivate the Keeper of the Light. And we can still farm up. Illuminate just to stack up the camps if you time it correctly. Means that you could, bubble onto Mag. He already used his time walk. 1 second left. He should be getting a lot of HP back from this one. Waveform misses, actually. Wouldn't have gotten the kill anyway, I don't think. But either way, Mag's going to survive. So, they are essentially forcing this Keeper Light into full jungle, which is fine for y'all. But really, they want the CK to be more aggressive. And Rubik's hanging around over towards this top lane as well. Mostly because there's nothing else for him to do. Like, what can Armen actually do in this game? Can he go towards mid lane and help BZZ to get a kill? Maybe on a soft target, he would be able to. Maybe if this was a Storm Spirit, he would be able to. In fact, if it was a Storm Spirit over towards mid, they would love to go for that. Like, 24/7, non-stop, go for those kills. But a Night Stalker is not easily killable, especially since he's now level 5. So the Rubik's stuck up here. He's going to have to go pull and stuff like that. Yol's not doing a hell of a lot, and the supports for Power Rangers, well, they're doing a hell of a lot more, that's for damn sure. Waveform this time going to land, but X-Mark's going to yank him right back. Still gets a 400 heal from that time walk, but the right clicks from goddamn more fully into the agility should still be a kill, especially if this Torrent lands. Mag going to try to dodge it, but walks right into it. Oh, baby. Power Rangers, 2 for 2. Actually, that was like 2 for 4 or something like that. But either way, they're landing their torrents, and that's what matters. X marks up against Time Walk. Yeah, Kunkka just is able to do that versus the vast majority of Fantastic Five's heroes. Faceless Void and Mirana, mostly. But the Disruption combo, usually not really the easiest to make work up against the Faceless Void, just because he has that Time Walk, but able to chase him down afterwards, showing off really the damage of Morphling. He is very, very heavy into the agility, so, CSing is going to be extremely easy for the Morphling. But also just putting damage into a Faceless Void, pretty darn easy as well. Looks like Mag has had enough of that bottom lane. He's going to go into the jungle. No Iron Talon just yet, although it should be coming up relatively shortly. It is going to be Power Rangers with the greater control of this early stage. And just Night Stalker is running around over towards mid lane without much fear of anything. That was a level 3 Starstorm. That didn't look like it did shit to the Night Stalker. Like, that actually didn't seem like it did any damage. Oh well, that's the life of a Mirana mid. So what Fantastic Five have to do in order to get themselves out of this funk is get the Chronosphere up on the Faceless Void, that's for starters. Get as much gold as you can on this Chaos Knight. And there you go, there's some gold right there. 5-minute Midas, that's fast timing. and then start to brawl. Start to hope that Power Rangers will kind of get the Morphling out of position and pick him off a couple times. Not lose RMN, that's also something that they have to do. They'll lift up the Night Stalker, throw him down, stun too. Not bad for RMN, but still there's a big bad Night Stalker on his tail. With the Void, he has Bottle Charge and then some. Arrow is almost going to land, but not quite there. Bubble onto, who's this, Mirana? Yes, it is Mirana. She has a leap, so she should be able to get out of here, no big deal. And now 4-0 for Power Rangers. They're still sticking around here. CK is coming in. Gonna pop the Phantasm. He needs Reality Rift range. He's gonna grab the Night Stalker. Bolt stun's gonna land for 1 second. Arrow's gonna miss though. No arrows connected in this game. And Illidan's ultimate is gonna be wasted now. Completely out of mana. Can't do a lot. And oh, Cheshire Cat. He's stealing the stack as well. He's gonna get all of it bar 2 creeps. That is a huge steal from Cheshire Cat. And it looks like RMN's gonna try to chase him down. Nighttime vision though. Not only nighttime vision, but also the darkness vision, so even more blind is this Rubik. Not able to catch up to the Batrider, and Batrider gets away with cold, bloody murder. He steals the stack away from F5. That is so much gold for the Coddle, for the Mirana, for someone that they're just never going to see again, not to mention the fact that Batrider now has his basic items up. He's got the Infused Raindrop, no Windlaces just yet, but still he's got the Tranquil Boots. Blink Dagger should be coming up relatively shortly afterwards. And Yol has like nothing. Like he actually has no look at his net worth. This is so sad. Mag's gonna get waveformed in the bottom lane. Speaking of so sad, Torrents, Morphling, Night Stalker. Yeah, it's the water combos. Have you ever seen such a sad Keeper of the Light right now, guys? Is this any of this Keeper of the Lights? Oh, he has boots. Hallelujah, he's got boots. Nothing like running around 7 minutes in with literally no items, right? Oh, BZZ is gonna get jumped. Night Stalker's right on her tail. Illuminate's going to hit onto the Shadow Demon, but still the right click on the Mirana will drop her fairly low. Moonlight Shadow is going to get her out of there, though. Should be surviving with, about 50 HP after the Shadow Poison. Actually, it didn't do any damage. What the hell? Oh, Infused Raindrop. There you go. So yeah, the Mirana's having a tough time. Mag is having a disastrous time. CK's not having a time. Like, he's not really getting any action on his hands at all. So Power Rangers are in full control of this game. And it's not even as if they have a draft that is limited to this early game. They have a Morphling who's absolutely free farm. We saw how much farm Goddamn was able to get in the last game. Despite the pressure that was being applied to him, this game, it's the game where he's the one applying the pressure. He's the one who knocks. White Noise, Cheshire Cat up towards top lane. May lift up, walks right into an arrow. Right clicks, is it going to be enough? Starstorm, are they going to get on the board? Yes, with a double star. They'll get the Batrider. Illidan does have a little bit of extra mana right now. He will take down the tower, but in the meantime, they drop Coddle. In daytime with the Night Stalker. Gets a kill on the Keeper of the Light. I guess it's the only boots build. Isn't really super useful. Although it is at Tranquil Boots, so not bad. So if F5, yeah, they get on the board. Trade-wise, it's pretty darn good. Able to take down the tower as well. But F5, unless they get like the best Chronospheres and the best Moonlight Shadow ganks in the world, they will need to start applying pressure to this Morphling or get more kills on other non-Morphling targets. Because the Morphling is still just farming away, and even though they do have a Chronosphere, they don't have enough damage to dump into it to realistically kill off a Morphling every single time. They would if they had like a Skywrath Mage or a Witch Doctor, who's a pretty high level, or maybe even a Phoenix. They just don't have those combos, so Mag is not only going to be under farm, but he's also going to have a really poor position in this game with what else is on his team. CK is working with the Hand of Midas. See, I'm kind of rooting for Illidan to win. Not for F5 to win, for Illidan to win. I want to see CK just smash everything, because, man, I love me some CK. But it doesn't really seem like that's going to be in the cards right now. Like, his matchups are just so bad in this game. He's going to probably just go for the pretty standard armlet BKB type items. No sense going too out of the ordinary, but while he's building up towards that, Power Rangers is looking for kills on Mag. He's got his Chronosphere. Darkness is going to scare his pants off. Now the Silencer there with Waveform immediately bursts down to 50 HP. Jeez, that was Soul Catcher Waveform for you. Super dead Baseless Void. And the tower should be chipped down as well. No Ring of Aquila here for the Morphling. It will arrive with the Coddle, but, I mean, this is like a guy who's like 600 years old. You don't want to mess with the Demon of the Night Stalker, because he could just run you down. You'll run! Get out of there! They're going to take on the Batrider elsewhere, but Goddamn's going to swoop in and take the kill on the bottom lane. Nice defense, Coddle. Batrider was picked off top, looks like just by the Mirana? Was that really a solo kill at BZZ? That's actually very impressive. He was able to land that arrow and actually get the kill afterwards. But even though they do get the kill on the Batrider for the Keeper of the Light, which is technically a good trade, they do still lose their tower. They're still losing control of the map. And it's not even real nighttime right now. Like, that was the fake nighttime from the Night Stalker. So real nighttime is going to be rolling around in just a little bit. And then the screws are really going to be put to the F5 side. I mean, they have their assets right now. They have the Phantasm, Chronosphere. Armlet should be coming up pretty soon on the CK. And actually, Rubik's level 6. That's not bad. But a level 6 Rubik is definitely not going to get them out of this. Are you going to steal a boat? It almost seems like you have to. Anything less is just not going to work. Guys, I think MRP might be back in. Dude, have you been watching this game? It's been a mess.
I'm just going to burn my ISP down. I'm pretty sure that's the play.
Well, I mean, can't you just get another ISP? Aren't you in...
Yeah, I mean, they're all garbage. It's all garbage, boys.
Well, at least
just
you
like
have
voting
options.
for Juggernaut.
They just have a monopoly over here in America, so I don't even have that luxury.
Multiple outages a day feels good.
Yeah.
Well, I see a Chaos Knight in this game, so that's a throwback for Illidan there. That's kind of nice.
Unfortunately, he was up against no one in lane, so he couldn't get any kills. And now it's just Power Rangers, the mid lane Night Stalker, just running the show, because you came in just in time for the 12-minute nighttime phase.
All right, yeah, 8-2 looks like a pretty sizable lead thus far for the Radiant side. I mean, CK is up there in net worth, but he's got a Midas, so not necessarily looking fight ready. Shashari Cat once again on the Batrider seems to be doing fairly well. I mean, he's perhaps a bit behind his timing, but 3 deaths will, I'm sure, do that to you, and one of which seems to be a suicide. So other than that, definitely feels like PR are pretty ready to hit their timings, but it does feel like they're not going to scale incredibly well with this mid lane Night Stalker, so we'll see how much pressure they can continue to apply here.
They're getting a lot of cash, however, on the Morphling, so having Night Stalker drop off isn't really going to be the end of the world. They did scan earlier Power Rangers, and they're going to run into Illidan. He can't Phantasm the Silence off, and here comes the boat. It's going to land so much damage. Armen is going to steal the Torrent, which is fine if he wasn't going to immediately die here. He's going to Torrent up life, throw out a Fade Bolt. He's kind of outnumbered here, though, so the Morphling should be able to get this kill. No, Kunkka's going to steal it. Either way, it is still CK to fall, which would have been bad for starters. Losing 2 there, even worse, obviously. And F5 get not much done in the meantime. Maybe this tier 1 mid lane? No, not going to happen, because Cheshire Cat is here with the X marks. You gonna leap away, Mirana? Probably not. You're going to get dragged right back into a Torrent, into a net, into the right click. Should be enough to get the kill. And now Yol's even going to show himself off. Again, you don't really want to play Keeper of the Light up against a Night Stalker. That shit is not fun, because this always happens. A blind Torrent gonna land. Well done. Hits him so hard, he pops a Panic Smoke. And now, Illidan, he can't even grab him with the Reality Rift. Because of the Darkness Vision, he doesn't have it. So, it's an absolute massacre in favor of Power Rangers.
Oh, wow, bottom lane as well. They're going in onto Mag. Do they have the damage, though? He should be able to time walk out of this. Does get torrented up, though. Couple more right clicks is there. The Void is going to drop to Bignum as well. And, I mean, you warned me about it, but this Night Stalker, 7-0-4 for Bignum out of the mid lane. I mean, we've seen him take over games, but not necessarily on this hero thus far. And one thing I wanted to mention as well for Shashari Cat is that they've been really diligent about drafting poor man's Blink Daggers for him. He's got the X control. In this matchup, he had the Snowball in the previous. So it's been allowing him to recover even from poor laning stages. And that assist in the mid lane is going to facilitate the pickup of his Blink Dagger here. So 14 minutes in, I mean, all things considered, is really not that poor of a timing for this offlane Batrider. And as you mentioned, everyone else getting all the farm they needed. And things looking really good for Fantastic Five. The only thing they're kind of missing at this point is that mid lane tower.
And fantastic for Power Rangers, they'll have the Blink Dagger on the Batrider, so no longer will have the poor man's Blink, he'll have the rich man's Blink, and perhaps even scarier, not the Morphling with the level 11 Lincoln Sphere 14 minutes in. No, that's not scary. The scary thing is that Night Stalker, he's got a completed Aghanim Scepter flying out to him. So, I mean, Night Stalker already is running the show. Like, wherever he goes, death will follow. And now he will see where you are at every single time. You don't even need a gem at this early stage, honestly, as the Night Stalker. Although it is very nice up against the Mirana's ultimate. Just being able to see more targets to kill. And that's a big deal for the Night Stalker. Being able to just coordinate those Batrider, Blink Dagger, Lasso ganks is big game.
Yeah.
And of course, this is all just going to be buying space for the Morphling, if that even becomes relevant. Like, it doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case, because Night Stalker, after this Aghanim Scepters, because it's picked up so early, can really just start going for a little bit more of a smashy build, start to get like Basher or Salt Cuirass or just simple power treads, and then still be relevant because he's just so far ahead.
Yeah, you also talked about the concern in terms of the lack of kills garnered by the CK thus far, and this is not a hero that in general farms well. With a Midas farms, I mean, so I suppose decently, but with no map vision, is going to heavily rely on skirmishing and skirmishing favorably in order to stay relevant in this game. So it does feel like PR are going to certainly have the upper hand in that fashion. They'll also have an Aether Lens if they want it up in just a moment for their Kunkka, and with the Night Stalker vision, perhaps they pick up a gem on top of that relatively soon. They're going to be able to be the kings of initiation going forward for all of these engagements. I mean, there's not going to be anytime soon, even perhaps in 20 minutes, for them to pick up a Coddle to answer the Aghanims of this Night Stalker. So for now, it does seem like PR definitely in the driver's seat in this one, looking to square this series up, turn it into a BO3. But Faceless Void, he's always that factor that when you look to go high ground, is going to make you respect the potential of Fantastic Five. So there is always potential for them to take fights. They've got, Mirana to contribute some damage in, as well as the Illuminate from the Coddle. But, Faceless Void, CK, synergistically, not the scariest combo. So still feels really good for the Radiant side.
Mm-hmm. I want to get your thoughts on, I don't know if you saw it, the draft order of F5. It was first phase, Faceless Void, Coddle. That doesn't seem like that good to me, like in any situation. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Both heroes have been picked up first, second phase. Never really together. I guess they have perhaps some intel on PR that they run it or have seen it ran against the Faceless Void recently. I mean, Mana Leak is awesome against the Faceless Void in lane, so I guess it's just covering their bases. I don't really see those two heroes being, Chrono Illuminate on paper does some work, but it's really not the scariest combination. It's not a dual lane that you can really run together. It doesn't benefit from Shock or Magic much. I mean, I guess you can time walk in and then immediately time walk out if you need to, like time walk in and right click and time walk out with the 6-second reduction.
That would be sick, dude.
Yeah, it's not really the scariest combo. So yeah, very odd to see together. I would agree with you in that front. But perhaps just covering their bases, trying not to have their Faceless Void have a poor lane. But it doesn't seem like he's had a great lane regardless, despite it being, one of the better players we've seen in CIS over the years in the off lane.
Well, Night Stalker is going to keep his Aghanim Scepter hidden for right now, is now spotted by a Dire Observer. So the Dire know that they're spotted. The Radiant see everything of the Dire. This is probably the best shot for Fantastic Five to get back into it. Yes, they're going to be down in vision. They're just down in overall strength. What they do have is a Chronosphere, and you can never underestimate that. But if they lose Illidan beforehand, that won't even matter. Here comes the boat. Illidan is going to get it out of there. Torrent's going to land onto Yol as well. They'll beat down the CK. Lots of damage to be done. He will Phantasm out, so at least he'll get a little bit of space trying to go back in. But that's ill-advised. He will go down as the Mag ultimate did pretty much nothing but just bland stun duration in the back. J4 is getting in with the Torrent, and CK with the Phantasm Illusions will grab a kill on the SD. But the Radiants, they will still be able to yank back Armen with the X marks. Blinding Light is good. Flame Break is there. Armen able to replicate out of there, but still will go down. Goddamn, now going to sit in the tower, strength morphing it up, and now here comes the big bad Night Stalker. Still has double damage rune. Oh my god, did he have that the entire time? He's going to try to go for Mag. Time Walk out will keep him safe. BZZ is thinking about going in. Ultimately, for a Fantastic Five, that actually, all things considered, wasn't really that bad. Like, they were able to absorb the combo from Power Rangers and really restrict their losses to only 2 heroes, but it's still, even though it wasn't bad, was far, far, far from good.
Yeah, and it's a Chronosphere on the sidelines, so just look for them to continue to get aggressive hereafter from the side of PR. I mean, it is going to be daytime now, so that does quite a bit hinder their ability to continue to be aggressive. But it's a kill on Illidan, and a kill on Illidan is always going to mean that they're ahead in this game, considering the current state. So they'll be happy with that. Goddamn doesn't die. Their Night Stalker doesn't die, so nothing of value was lost. as you mentioned, just the Shadow Demon going down, who's already, second to the poorest in the game in terms of net worth. So PR would have liked a little bit more out of that, but they baited out a Chronosphere in a pure defensive nature. They kill off the CK. I'm not sure what that re-engagement was from Illidan there with like 1 HP. He may have messed an armlet toggle up, expected to be at 15 to 20%, but either way, definitely, as you mentioned, a little bit ill-advised, and he does end up dropping. And when all is said and done, Goddamn still pressuring into this mid tower. Has a replicate up for the next little bit, so feeling fairly safe, and we'll be able to make it back out to safety after putting in some chip damage.
Yeah, Morphling is pretty sick with Shadow Demon, mostly because he's able to get all of his stats into agility, which of course translates into those disruption illusions. Shadow Demon, in fact, has gone for the ultimate build to capitalize on that, and maxing out disruption is something that we kind of rarely see. It really does only happen when you're working like with a hero of the Terrorblade caliber, where disruption illusions are just absolutely insane, and Morphling definitely is up there as well. But they're going to try to capitalize on this Morphling's good start as much as possible. Look at this. X marks on Night Stalker to go in, clear the ward while being safe. I mean, it's nighttime, so I'm not really sure how necessary that was. But sure, Power Rangers, they can do this. Over towards mid lane now. Jump in. Ooh, Cheshire Cat not quite able to find Yul. But, I mean, not killing off Keeper of the Light. Who cares, right? Let him live. The guy needs to, hit retirement. He's almost there. He's too old for this shit.
He is too old for this shit, but either way, it doesn't feel like they're going to be able to mount a defense. However, I mean, Fantastic Five, they don't farm well. The purpose of their lineup is to fight, so it does seem like they'll still convene around this mid lane, show their face. They're going to pop up the Moonlight Shadow within vision, though, and there is a gem as well as Darkness up, but as Darkness expires, seems like the Radiant for now are going to have to concede this tower. They'll try and bring it down with the Disruption Illusions. They get it for J4. Wow, so under the nose of Fantastic Five, they'll still secure the last hit, which is a pretty big win for them, especially considering map control. That mid lane tower going down, regardless if the last hit was theirs or not, is going to really open up this dire jungle now when nighttime comes along for PR next.
Jump in. Illidan's going to get dragged right into a torrent and a boat and a waveform. Immediately CK down. And who else is going to fall here? Armen has no blink to get out of here. He's going to have to deal with the Night Stalker. Good luck. In the meantime, they're going to yank back the Mirana. She'll leap out of the torrent, so she'll be just fine. But Batrider now overhead above Yul. Just going to set up for the X marks. Where are you going, Keeper of the Light? You're not going anywhere. Right back in. Flame break back again. And a waveform through. Kunkka will still somehow steal that kill because that's how Kunkka rolls. But it's a 3-0 in favor of the Power Rangers side. All of which happens during the daytime.
Yeah.
I don't know, F5, they've landed one Chronosphere in this game, and it did, 0 damage. Quite literally 0 damage. I don't even know if, a 5-man Chronosphere can get them back into a decent spot.
Yeah, I mean, you'd need, multiple heroes on the very edge of the Chronosphere with a Mirana Ags, and the CK being able to right-click them. It's an extremely edge case, it feels, where Fantastic Five will have success. But for now, I guess they'll show some resolve.
Steal the boat and then Chronosphere.
I mean, that's, that 400 damage nuke is a pretty good one, even at level 1. So, yeah, they'll need some sort of help from the Rubik, no doubt. But it does feel like they just don't have the follow-up, as you mentioned, at this point, even if they do have that high ground advantage. And, I mean, that high ground advantage is essentially nullified when you have a Night Stalker Ags on nighttime on the other side. So it's going to be very rough for Fantastic Five going forward. Wouldn't even be surprised with a 1-game advantage to see them GG out relatively soon, but not to be anticlimactic. We'll see how they press forward. Still, they are going to be farming glacially slow on all of their cores here. Mirana, the only one who can kind of keep up once she picks up an Aghanims, but she's still 500 gold from that at this point.
And now Night Stalker has a Blink Dagger, so you just can bust right in. Not your standard Night Stalker fare, but again, it's 20 minutes in. If you have a Night Stalker with Ags at 20 minutes, you're usually just pretty happy, but, an extra 2,000 gold on top of that, not too bad either. The scariest thing now is going to be the Morphling, who's very close to having the Ethereal Blade over towards mid lane. They're going to catch a Chronosphere onto 3. Illuminate is going to do almost nothing. They're going to focus down to the Kunkka. Does get the boat out, though, so the Rum is going to give him a lot of sustain. Boat stolen now. Is going to be returned to help out Illidan just a little bit. He's rummed up. He would actually give him the chance to survive here. Still, right clicks from the Morphling is pretty intense. He'll arm the toggle once. He's going to throw a stun over towards the Night Stalker, and the disengage from Fantastic Five. Oh, it's not going to save Illidan. And now all hell is going to break loose as the Mirana is going to be forced to jump out of here. Mag still playing some games here. They did drain all the mana from the Night Stalker. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. That is by far the best case scenario here for F5. You take down the Kunkka, but they're still maybe going to lose a couple more heroes. Mag with the Flame Break. Night Stalker does have Crippling Fear, but the Blinding Light's going to slow them down just a little bit more. Cheshire Cat doesn't have a lasso. I mean, that still was not a good trade for Fantastic Five, but
Yeah.
they land a good Chronosphere. They steal Boat. Everything that has to happen kind of did happen, but it still just isn't quite good enough. And in just a little bit of gold, as what I was saying, Goddamn's going to have a shotgun, and then things are just going to get off to a really bad game state for F5.
It does feel like both of these last team fights have gone rather ideal for the Dire side, but it just, you know, they were even able to steal the boat there, as you mentioned. The Night Stalker initiation was pretty much innocuous. He had to back right out as soon as he blinked in, so the reveal, I mean, didn't really bear anything for them. And the boat actually didn't hit anyone from the Radiant side, and neither did the stolen one, but the Rum did some work for Fantastic Five, a little bit more so than their counterparts. And I mean, overall, it did feel like a good fight. You mentioned the good chrono for Fantastic Five, but at the end of the day, they still lose their CK. They don't really get anyone of value from the other side. I mean, I suppose Mirana's going to have her completed Ags at this point, but that just doesn't feel in any respect game-changing going forward, and it still feels like PR heavily in the driver's seat, and now they do have that initial burst to try and bring down one hero.
Watch out. This guy's got a loaded gun, and he's itching to
well.
use it. So dangerous.
They're gonna have a lot of time here to kind of just stalk the mid lane. Mag's gonna time walk up to the high ground. I'll keep him safe for now.
Or will it?
You have vision of him just a second, and the full combo is all they need. Void not even used there. Replicate back out on top of the mana leak. Bignum will have to run away. The boat's gonna come through now. It's not really gonna connect on anyone. Rum will be there for the Night Stalker to keep him fighting, but Shishari Cat does get reality'd in and brought down quickly with the Phantasm illusions, so that will at least stymie the push from PR going forward. And it does seem like Fantastic Five, they're just able to constantly delay this game out, but it begs the question, to what end, to what point, where are they happy with this game being delayed out? It doesn't feel like any of these heroes are really going to be able to withstand the goddamn Morphling, or stand up to the goddamn Morphling, I should say, in the late game, considering the game he's having thus far.
Yeah, I mean, if CK was a hero that could actually play well with the Chronosphere, do something in the Chronosphere, then at least Fantastic Five would have that kind of dream scenario. Because we just saw F5, their CK, he just tore that Batrider apart. It wasn't even close. He hasn't been able to do that because he's always been initiated upon, but still he's working with quite a lot of damage. He's actually ahead of the Night Stalker as far as net worth is concerned. So they will have Illidan still farming up in the background, but over towards bottom. They'll blast the Kunkka with a half combo. Morphling, Moonlight Shadow is, they'll throw an arrow. And I'm just going to follow that arrow to safety. And it looks like that should just about be it. So F5, they do still have a lot of damage, a lot of solo pick-off power. If they catch one person out of position, they may even be able to kill off the Morphling if they actually do have the Phantasm and everything else set up beforehand. But it just doesn't seem like that's really going to be a consistently and safely reliable way of getting themselves back into this game. They need, like, actually something to bank upon, except for Power Rangers to make mistakes, which, again, if you're hoping on that, then you're already in a really bad spot.
Yeah, it's hard to see win conditions for Fantastic Five. I mean, they still do have the Midas ticking away. Illidan will get stronger throughout these fights, but I mean, in the last fight, we saw 3 CK illusions on the Radiant side, 2 from Disruption, 1 from Replicate. So they're always going to be able to kind of fight back, even though they may not have right now the AoE to deal with the CK. And at some point, Kunkka will get a bit of damage. Top lane, though, Mag, he's been connected on by a boat. He will have to Chronosphere in order to save his own life. The arrow is going to come through well before that, so not communicated perfectly. The X back onto the Void will at least keep him in place or keep him worried, as Bignum walking around with the Aghanims and the Gem. So can look to any initiation that's supposed to come from Fantastic Five. He may look to take out RMN's Rubik here. Has the Blink Dagger. Crippling Fear is level 3, so that's a 7-second silence. We'll be able to dodge the arrow. And now flanking in from the other side is the Batrider. We'll be able to cliff up Illidan. He should be able to BKB and Reality down to the low ground, and that's exactly what he will do. So they will get the Batrider out of it, and it was a bit of a, I don't know, it was a bit of a very forward initiation from the Bat there. Goddamn was ratting, though. In the meantime, we'll get at least the range racks and be able to waveform himself out to safety. But it did feel like the Bat Rider kind of just a little deep behind enemy lines. Regardless, they get a range racks out of it. They have some deep vision down for the Radiant side, so they can continue to kind of apply pressure in this manner and starve Fantastic Five's cores out from farming.
I mean, that Battler play was questionable, but in the efforts of space creation, just get Morphling a couple of seconds to deal with those towers, which he busted through like all the way to the tier 3, all the way to the range Raxes. It was pretty easy for him. With, of course, J4's help is well worth it. Now Illidan's going to hit with the Torrent and the Boat Waveform shotgun combo. It's good. Okay, so they have a Veil on the Kunkka with the Ethereal Blade from the Morphling. I don't know how much damage that is, but it's a lot, and it'll probably kill anyone off every single time. Not to mention the fact that Ethereal Blade just gives you a lot of agility, so you're able to just hit really hard. Your illusions hit very hard, which of course means that Shadow Demon's going to get more powerful as well. CK down means that F5 will really scramble for an answer here. Now, this is everyone from Power Rangers going down to this bottom lane, so if F5 are able to hold this, that'll be great. But first of all, they're going to lose RMN to a shotgun combo. It's actually going to be spilled over to Zyol as well. 2 heroes down as the Night Stalker is going to blink straight in towards BZZ. Mirana may live, but the Raxes will not. 27 minutes in, first set of Raxes down. There is a tier 2 here, so yeah, Trisha Cat, that's not an option. You'll have to go through the slow way. But for F5, like they're really not putting up much of a fight in these I don't know, could we call them fights? In these defenses? They're just kind of folding.
Yeah, in these backing downs from F5 side. I mean, I don't know. This is just this is some tomfoolery. I wish I could have been here to see the early game with this Night Stalker and how impactful he truly was. But I mean, at this point, you know, metric-wise, you're talking about in excess of a 10K net worth lead. Experience is roughly the same. Excuse me, roughly the same at this point. And the only thing keeping Fantastic Five in this game is those tier 2 towers mid lane. I mean, Illidan has potential to, you know, reality in a Kunkka or a Shadow Demon and burst them down where the Torrent and the Disruption can't counter initiate or disengage since he has the BKB, but it just doesn't feel like Goddamn's very killable. The Night Stalker is way too quick, and you know, speaking of killable, Goddamn bottom lane, he's gonna find himself a solo kill on the Coddle. They'll get the return on the Shadow Demon, but they utilize the Chronosphere in order to do so. Goddamn running away. I mean, he's just standing here and tanking it at this point. He's gonna get lifted up. The boat is gonna come through. The Rum will not connect though onto Goddamn as it doesn't pass through him, so he will just have to replicate himself away and down towards the bottom lane. And I mean, no big real cooldown expended there, both just being that 40-second one. So Bignum hanging around here, has the Arcane Rune in 10 seconds. We'll have the darkness up as well as it already being nighttime. So can look to continue to re-engage Shashari Cat on the bottom line. He's going to force out a BKB from Illidan, who gets antsy on the trigger finger as, I mean, it's just been constant pressure applied from the Radiant side. So to some extent, you can't blame him, but it is a bit of a blunder for him. Using up his 9-second BKB in that mid lane, and perhaps that just opens the door for the push now from the Radiant.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Radiant were going to go for a push regardless of whether or not they get a BKB charge, but hey, it's going to be shorter. I don't think they can get in before it's up again, so they can't really abuse that, but what they can do is take down Roche. That will be one where, yeah, they may have to deal with a Chronosphere. Actually, no, it's in 40 seconds, so yeah, no Chronosphere, no BKB. They're not really the best at killing off Roche, mostly because Morphling illusions won't really do anything here. But I mean, with nothing in response here for F5, like the worst case scenario is, I don't even know, like you get the Kunkka cliffed by Blinding Light. I mean, even Morphling Night Stalker can get back down from that, so that's not even that bad. They'll just slowly chip it down, and for F5, they're bottled up in their base. They will have all of their assets by the time this push comes. But with one good Batrider initiation, which Cheshire Cat has been providing throughout both these games, that it doesn't even matter what you have. So good luck, F5. In fact, they're just going to go in with the Morphling, Batrider, and Night Stalker right now. This is not going to be expected by F5. It's the element of surprise in favor of Power Rangers here in Vizrune. They have the Night Stalker providing vision. They'll grab RMN.
He has morph.
And that is... Oh, he does have
morph.
He has a lot of HP. It doesn't matter. He had full strength there. But of course that means you have no armor, so it takes a lot of damage.
That was a very cute play. I think if in a much closer game, that would have been very nice for them to attempt. Having Roche go down, and then immediately as the message is sent to the dire side, they jump in with the lasso, replicate the Morphin, as you mentioned. So definitely not something Fantastic Five were expecting. Seems a little bit inconsequential when all is said and done, since the tier twos are still up and they have to kind of slowly and methodically push down this mid lane. But either way, it was a nice play. Arrow's going to be dodged narrowly by Bignum. X is out onto Illidan, may force out the BKB here, but they actually will jump forward with the Chronosphere. It only connects onto Shari Cat, but the double Starfall will bring him very low at this point. Boat is going to come through, not going to connect on anyone, but they bring down the CK. Goddamn, just standing and manning up with him, and on the back lines, Mirana in trouble as well. BZZ has already used the leap. Will try and phase boots away, but the Night Stalker will just simply chase him down. Waveform forward as well. Yol, the old man, just trying to retire, is going to be brought back into the hell of employment, and now the time walk up to the high ground by Mag, right into the hands of Goddamn. And a couple more right clicks on top as the E-Blade expires. 5-man wipe, GG called. We got a best of 3 on our hands. This started off as a BO5, but one team gonna take a game each. Power Rangers, I mean, they showed some good resolve in the first game against that Drow lineup, and definitely seemed to, at least when I joined 11 minutes in, have a really good early game in this one, and didn't throw their lead away at any point. So PR looking fairly impressive despite the recent stand-in.
Yeah, mid lane Night Stalker really is gonna have like the best time possible when going up against a mid lane Mirana who just simply can't do anything versus such a tanky hero. I mean, there's not that much help coming in towards her either. The Rubik and Keeper of the Light, gotta fear those two ganking, that's for sure. So I'm liking how Power Rangers are playing just slightly more than F5. Maybe you can argue Game 1 was kind of a cheesy win for F5 pulling out that Drow, but Power Rangers played really just rock solid Dota here in Game 2. So we'll see what's going to happen, guys. We got, at most 3 games more until NoShang is going to come to an end. I'm Mikelorus, joined by Mrpdota. We'll both be right back for the third game between PR and F5.